Good day, students of Southwest Leadership Academy. I hope everyone's doing good today. So, to answer your worksheet in evolution in Miss King's biology class, the first part there is from 1 to 13. Okay? You will choose your answers from A up to letter M. Then from number 14 to number 21, you will choose your answers from letter N to letter V. Okay? If you have any more questions, just email me in my email account. It's zarnel.ramos@rop.com.
Okay, so for today's topic is about your evolution worksheet in the biology class of MISKI. Okay, so our lesson is to discuss the different choices in the evolution worksheet. The first one is acclimation, which is the process or result of becoming accustomed to a new climate or to new conditions. An example for this is an adjustment an organism makes better deal with its environment which occurs in the organism's lifetime. The next one is adaptation. It's almost like acclimation, but in acclimation, it has to do something with the blood. Okay? It changes through time. And by adaptation, it is a change or the process of change by which an organism or species become better suited to environment. An example for that is living in group is an adaptation that increases the efficiency of hunting. Just like in the picture here, it is a trait that helps an organism survive in its environment. So that is adaptation. So for the next one, it's adaptive radiation. It's almost like adaptation, but in adaptive radiation, the diversification of a group of organisms into forms filing different ecological niches. An example for that is when one species rapidly changes into many different species. So that is called adaptive radiation. The next one is analogous. So for structures, these are performing a similar function but having a different evolutionary origin, such as the wings of insects and birds. Example are two structures that look similar but do not come from one ancestor. Like the bird had bigger wings and the insects have like transparent wings and little wings. Okay, so those are analogous. For the next one, we have the bottleneck effect, which is a population bottleneck, an event that drastically reduces the size of population. The bottleneck may be caused by various events such as an environmental disaster, the hunting of a species to the point of extinction, or habitat destruction that results in the deaths of organisms. An example for this is a freak accident or we can call natural disaster, which wipes out part of the population. For the next one, we have the cladogram, which I presented here a picture in the right side of the video that starts from the vertical line with a eukaryote vertebrae, four lines, amniotic egg, and hair or fur. Okay, so as you can see, we have eukaryotes considered as in the fish. The vertebrates and the four lines are in the amphibians. Okay, and for the amniotic egg, we have two different kinds of species that have amniotic egg or produce amniotic eggs, or we can consider it as eggshells in common terms. For example, a reptile lays an egg and a bird lays an eggshell. So they are considered in the cladogram as an amniotic egg. For the next one, we have the hair or fur, which the rodents and primates have a hair. Okay, so that is what cladogram is. They are showing a branch or the cladistic relationship between a number of species. Next one. Convergent evolution, the process whereby organisms not closely related or not monophyletic independently evolve similar traits as a result of having to adapt similar environments or ecological niches. So for these convergent evolutions, these species try to converge with one another and to form another species. Okay, it's like adaptive radiation, but we consider this as convergent evolution. Okay, for the next one, it is the divergent evolution, which is the process whereby groups from the same common ancestor evolve and accumulate differences, resulting in the formation of a new species. An example for this is two structures that look similar but do not come from one ancestor. The next one is the founder effect. As you can see in the picture here, it is a change in the gene pool caused by a small population migrating to a new area. So there are different group of rabbits that live in that area, and one small population of it try to migrate to another area. So that is what we call founder effect. It means to reduce the genetic diversity, which results when a population is descended from a small number of colonizing ancestors. Another example is when several individuals from a population break off and form their own new population. That is what we call founder effect. For the next one, we have the gene flow. So in population genetics, gene flow, also known as gene migration or allele flow, is the transfer of genetic variation from one population to another. If the rate of gene flow is high enough, then two populations are considered to have equivalent allele frequencies and therefore effectively be a single population. An example for it is when new organisms come into or out of a population. That is what gene flow is. The next one we have here the homologous. I've shown you here a homologous structure of a human, a dog, a dolphin, and a fruit bat. So basically, these are organs which are similar in position, structure, and evolutionary origin, but not necessarily in function. An example for it is a silk flipper is homologous with the human arm. Okay, so that is what we call homologous. They have almost the similar organs shared among organisms of different axes that suggest a common ancestor, but they have different kind or different functions for it. Like the human head that is used for grabbing things or we use our hands to eat. But for dogs, they do not use their hands to eat. They use it to walk. And for dolphin, they use it to swim. And for fruit bat, they use their homologous hands to fly. Okay, so those are the different homologous structure for different species. So for the last one, we have here mutation. So basically, mutation is the change that occurs in our DNA sequence, which is the deoxyribonucleic acid, either due to mistakes when the DNA is copied or as a result of environmental factors, such as UV light and cigarette smoke. A good example for this is when several individuals from a population break off and form their own new population.
So there you have it. If you have any questions, just